The following is a work of fiction. All events, individuals, organizations, and incidents depicted are entirely fabricated. Any resemblance to real persons living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidence. Content warning. This video discusses mass suicide, cult ideology, and concerning material.
Breaking news this morning.
99 individuals found across 23 states in what investigators are now calling
the largest coordinated mass in American history.
March 29th, 2026, 99 people lost their lives at the exact same moment across the United States. Same method, same time. The forensic window was under 90 seconds, not approximate coordination, exact. One of those 99 was my friend Daniel Walsh. We'd known each other ever since we were 9. He got me into Minecraft originally. When I heard his name in the initial reports, I told myself that there had to be an explanation for it. That's the thing about knowing someone that well, you don't believe what doesn't fit their character. To begin, I contacted the police department coordinating the federal investigation. I identified myself as representing an independent news publication and requested access to the publicly available documents related to the incident. They told me approximately a week. It took 8 days. When it arrived, I saved everything that seemed relevant and organized it across my desktop. Several hundred pages containing victim profiles, forensic incident reports, tattoo documentation, with photographs, coordination timelines constructed by the FBI field office. The news coverage had reported one tattoo design, the empty circle on the inner wrist, consistent across all victims, though upon looking at the tattoo documentation, it told a different story. 92 of the 99 victims had the empty circle, but 6 of them had a different design, a circle with the interior filled out completely, solid black, not empty, and there was Daniel, the only person in the entire documentation with a different one. A sun circle, a filled circle with lines extending outwards, the only one of its kind amongst all the victims. I laid the 3 designs out next to each other and looked at it for a very long time. 3 variations, the same symbol. It didn't look random, perhaps a hierarchy, I suggested, but I couldn't confirm this interpretation yet. The documents didn't explain much about the tattoos, mainly just explained details of it, but I jot down that theory into my mind and kept reading. Then the sole survivor's documentation. There was almost nothing. No photograph, no full legal name, only a physical description and a record of circumstances in which he was found, unconscious, on the floor of a resident's address. He had failed the acts. He went into cardiac arrest. He was shortly revived by the paramedics approximately 4 minutes after the loss of pulse. He had been alone in the property. No witness present at the scene, but someone had called emergency services. The responding officers had noted this explicitly in the incident report. The call had originated from a phone number that didn't belong to the survivor. When the investigators traced the number, it led to a virtual service, a disposable number registered to no known identity, untraceable by any method available to the department. Someone had known exactly where he was, had known exactly what was happening at that address at that exact moment, and had called for help while ensuring there was no way to determine who they were. Then I found an email address on the file. I wrote to it that evening, and I explained who I was, and I was trying to understand, and asked if he was willing to speak with me. He replied in 19 minutes. He said yes. I scheduled the call. Hey, thanks for agreeing to this.
Of course, I'll be honest, I don't really feel comfortable talking about it, but I think it's important that someone tries to understand what happened, so ask whatever you need to.
I appreciate your honesty and willingness to talk to me. Let's start with somewhere basic. Who are you?
My name is Nada Slam. I was a member of a group called The Morning. I'm the only person from that group who is still alive.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself outside of the cults and everything before all of this, basically?
Sure. I'm a pretty private person, honestly. Always have been. High school was, it was difficult socially. I didn't have many people I was close to. It sounds pathetic when I say it out loud, but it's just what it was. I found the morning online, and it presented itself as a Minecraft community at first. A group of people who played together and talked, and by the time I understood what it actually was, I was already embedded enough that leaving felt complicated. But I'm in college now, political science, trying to move forward.
What was the morning? What did it actually believe in?
The core belief was the morning star, that there was an entity, they called it the morning star, that existed above the level of ordinary human experience, that worshipping it and aligning yourself with it would improve your life, health, finances, relationships, whatever you needed. The morning star would provide it if you were devoted enough. The incident... the act, whatever you want to call it. It was the culmination of a longer theological development within the group. The belief had evolved into something more specific over time. They came to believe that collective death at a specific moment would allow the morning star to descend, to enter the world physically through a vessel.
How did 100 people across 23 states coordinate something like this through a Minecraft server?
The server was everything. Members logged on every day. It was the community. It was where worship happened, where planning happened, where relationships were built. Most members had never met each other in person and probably never would have. The server was the world that actually inhabited together.
The tattoos. The news reported one design, the empty circle, but the documents I've seen show 3 different designs. What did those mean?
The tattoos were... they were primarily for identification. If members encountered each other in person, which is rare but did happen, the tattoos was how you confirmed who someone was. I know that sounds strange, but most of it sounds strange from the outside. There were a few different designs. Most people chose the empty circle because aesthetically, it was the simplest. The other designs were just variations. Not really much significance to this. At least I didn't treat it that way.
Was there hierarchy in the group perhaps?
There were people who handled things, yeah. They weren't the leader. They operated on behalf of whoever was leading. The regular members took direction from those people.
Who was the leader? Who was the real leader?
I genuinely couldn't tell you. He or she was never present on the server in any visible way. The 6 managers passed down directives. Where those came from, who originated them, I didn't know. I don't think most members knew.
You describe yourself as less devoted than other members, but more of a peripheral participant, I guess?
That's accurate. I was present, but not... invested isn't quite the right word. I could see widows more clearly than most of them, or I told myself that. I'm still not sure if that's true, or just something I needed to believe to feel less responsible for being there at all. That distance probably saved my life in some indirect way.
Is the server still accessible? Would there be a way to review the logs?
The server itself isn't running, but the logs were archived externally. I can send you a link. You'd be able to access them from there.
That would be useful, thank you. One more thing, do you know a Daniel Walsh?
No, I don't think so. The name isn't familiar. Who is he?
Someone connected to the case. No, actually, never mind. Thank you for your time, Natus. I mean that genuinely.
Of course, I'll send you the link shortly. I hope you find what you're looking for.
Take care of yourself.
I always do.
That was Natus Lamb. I should mention this, I noticed this earlier. Natus, read it backwards, it was Satan. It was either a coincidence or something so obvious it couldn't be intentional. Either way, it didn't change what I concluded of the conversation. I honestly believed him. The overall impression I had was of someone telling the truth, or at least his version of it. His account of everything was pretty coherent, and I thought that was not a unique case, and that's how most people end up in groups that later harm them. I concluded that he was just a peripheral member and who had survived by a miracle and now was trying to move on to something that most people would find impossible to process. I honestly felt sympathy for him. I want to be specific about this because I think it's important that I felt sympathy for Natus here. After that conversation, I thought he was the victim, and yeah. He sent me the server log link. What the link led to was an archive website that contained thousands of entries spanning approximately 8 months of daily activity. I organized everything and started at the beginning. The first thing that struck me immediately was how normal it looked. Ordinary conversations, members talking about their lives, their days, things they were watching and playing. The casualness of any online community where people have been talking long enough to develop shared references and running jokes. Then I found something that would throw all the ordinary of these logs right out the window. At coordinated times, the entire group would log on to the server and convene at a specific location. These were the worship sessions. Every gathering opened with the same prayer, word for word, without variation across every session in the archive. The night is a shroud for the blind, but the morning is a fire for the chosen. We stand in the shadow of the star, waiting for the star to break. What is flesh but fuel for the light? What is breath but a death to the dawn? O son of morning, look upon your mirrors. Burn away the name, burn away the man, until only the reflection remains. And every gathering closed with this. The star has spoken. The horizon is a wound. We do not seek the sun that warms, but the light that consumes. Higher than the clouds, deeper than the earth, we shall hang between the world and the void until we are one. Through the chain, the circle is closed. Through the rope, the morning is reached. Glory to the star that never sets. They said this at every gathering, dozens of times across months. And during the gatherings, between prayers, it followed a consistent pattern. Members reported on their contributions. They discussed financial contributions. They reported on recruitment efforts and influence campaigns, spreading the ideology through adjacent online websites, and they reported on errands. The errands are the part I spent the most time on. Several entries, not many, but enough. Documented instructions passed from 6 managers to specific members. The instructions specified individuals, names, sometimes locations, sometimes just descriptions. The language was indirect, but the meaning was not. These were orders to eliminate people, whether it be rival group leaders or even seemingly random individuals in some cases. I spent several days attempting to verify whether any of these orders had been carried out. I found nothing conclusive. I also found nothing that ruled it out. Deeper in the logs, I found tattoo documentations. Not a single entry, multiple references across multiple gatherings. Members discussing the meanings of their mark openly, casually in the same tone they used to discuss everything else. The empty circle were regular members. The filled black circle were the 6 prophets. The row was to carry the ideology outward, to spread it. That was the hierarchy. But the strange thing was that the sun circle was never mentioned. And the strangest thing about this was that Natus had told me that the tattoos were primarily for identification purposes, that the different designs were aesthetic choices, and that there wasn't a deeper meaning, but in the logs there was something else, and he knew that. There was an account that had been noting throughout my review of the logs, a username present in every session record, every daily log entry listed as online continuously, from the earliest archive entry to the final one dated March 28th, the night before the incident. The player had never sent a message, never responded to anyone, never participated in worships, or planning or ordinary conversation, just there, constantly. The very player was DW_sunrise. I initially categorized it as a monitoring bot and moved on. This was a mistake because on March 28th, 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the incident, DW Sunrise sent its first and only message in the entire archive. The poem, 17 lines, no explanation, no context, no preceding conversation, just the poem, and it read, "Underneath the morning sky, we gather in the dark circles, drawn in silence, every vessel finds its mark, pure and hollow, waiting still. The chosen learn to see dying is not the ending. It is finally being free, zeal without a name or a face. The star needs no disguise. Join the light that burns away the weakness from your eyes. Peel away the flesh and find the morning underneath. 7 times the prophet spoke the word, hung it like a wreath. Yield the self you thought you were. The vessel must be bare. 99 mirrors broke at once and filled the morning air. Rising from the circle closed, the star descends at last. Vessels do not mourn, the flesh was never asked. Join us in the only light that does not fade or lie. 5 stars do not ask for permissions when they fill an empty sky. Burn the name, remain the shape, the morning has arrived. Circle closes, rope goes tats, the chosen have survived. Come and find what waits beyond the torches you have lit. 99 suns extinguished so the morning star could sit. Look upon your inner wrist and understand the sign. 7 times the circle must be drawn before the dawn is mine. Vessels of the morning star, your emptiness is right. Quiet now the star descends, go gently into light. I read it twice before I noticed the first letter of each line. I wrote them down in a sequence and they resolved into a string of characters that fit exactly into a YouTube channel URL. It was a cipher hidden inside a cultish poem. I typed the URL into my browser. The channel had no name, no profile picture, no description, no subscribers, only 4 videos with no title nor description. The oldest posted approximately 1 month before the incident, and the most recent one posted on the date of the incident. The channel itself is rather strange and it seems like something you weren't meant to find. Find out what was actually going on, I had to click on the first video. In the video, we're in the perspective of a Minecraft player with a seemingly dark skin. He goes up the temple. And he starts building. From this point on, we can see it is a large stone temple in the middle of a dense jungle forest. With no narration, no music, just the ambient sounds and the blocks placing. And this goes on for a while and the video ends, but did you see that? In multiple frames and multiple instances throughout the video, at one of the trees in the far distance, a player with a white skin standing completely still at the edge of the forest, watching our player build. The player never acknowledged it, never turned toward it, never gave it any indication of awareness. I noted this down, but I couldn't draw any conclusions, so I moved on to the next video. The second video starts up with the same player and he looks up. And there are 8 Minecraft players arranged in a circular stone table in a dark enclosed space. What is noticeable immediately is that 7 of the 8 players, including our perspective, had custom symbols on their chests. Each symbol seems to be different. I paused on each one and this is what I got. But when I tried to find out the meaning of each, I couldn't. Whatever these symbols represented wasn't in the public record, nor on the internet. The 8th player had no chest symbol, and it sat across from our perspective, and it looked rather familiar. So I went back to the first video, then that's where I realized it was the same figure, the same exact skin as the stalker in the first video, sitting right across the person he stalked. Then our player says, "These are the rules. No other devotion, no idolatry, no harm to members, no theft from members, absolute faithfulness, absolute obedience to the prophets. We can see from the chat that our player has the name 1, which is impossible, because standard Minecraft names require 3 characters, containing only letters, numbers, and underscores. The name 1 would be impossible, since it's just 1 character. Then someone suddenly responds to our player and says, "Looks good," with the name 0, again an impossible name. The more people respond, "That's fine, looks good, alright, fine, good, sounds good." Everyone had something in common, being that they all have a single numerical number as their name, starting from 0 to 7. This leads me into thinking that everyone is using a disguise mod or something of the sorts to hide their real identity. Then suddenly our player says, "Who's the vessel?" Complete silence. Until someone said something, then the argument started. Everyone is typing and arguing and berating each other. But the odd thing is, behind all the noise was that 0 and 1 never says anything or even argues about being the vessel, something that everyone's but them seem to chase and wants. The video suddenly ended with the argument unresolved. This video was as cryptic as the last one, so I had to move on to the third video to paint the full picture that I wasn't ready to articulate yet. The third video began with the same perspective as all the other entries. The player was alone in a landscape that I didn't recognize from the earlier videos. An enormous open flat grassland, shrines in a straight line, and each one of them identical in design. And in the player's inventory laid 99 pieces of rotten flesh. He moves from shrine to shrine without rushing. At each one he placed a rotten flesh in the water and moved on to the next. The repetition of this process was hypnotic, in the way rituals are. Now he was onto his final piece of rotten flesh in the final shrine. He talks about how flesh is weights, about how the morning star's inability to descend into something that was fully human. A void. Complete void, except for one structure ahead, a small wooden house, the kind of house you would build as a one-off in your world. I recognized the head immediately. That was my skin. I had used it for years. It was the skin that I used every time Daniel and I played together. The exact skin, the exact details, there was no question. That was my head sitting at the end of this stone tunnel in a video that is made by someone that I perhaps know. That was Daniel Walsh's secret channel. That was his video. He picked it up. In front of the fire, he said, "They are anchors. They pull me back to the dirt. To ascend, to meet the level of the morning star. I must be light. I must be the sun. I must be alone." He threw my head into the fire and it disappeared. Daniel had filmed himself burning my Minecraft head and had posted it to a hidden channel, had embedded a path that led to the channel inside a cult server log. He had planned everything through and through. He had to have known I would find it. He had constructed the path that led me here. I was sure by then he was the culprit. He was the cult leader that I was searching for. But I had to confirm this fact, so I played the video. The void again, but a different building, a temple, similar to the very temple from the first video. He walks to the very center of it and drops down. Inside it was filled with torches. He began breaking the torches one by one till one torch remained. He stood in front of it and said, "Your sun is a lie. Your torches are flickers of a dying world. I will wait in the dark until the true light rises." He broke the last torch. The video ended in complete darkness. I moved on to the fourth video. From beneath the eyes, a figure emerged, a white skin with no name tag. It was the stalker from the first video, the 8th player at the table from the second video. The figure who had observed Daniel without participating, who had listened without speaking, who had been present throughout every gathering without leaving a trace in the logs. The figure walks toward Daniel and stopped directly beneath the eyes. He stared at each other for a few minutes. Then Daniel said, "Why did you betray me? Why? We were in this together. We built this. We were supposed to reach the morning star together. We were supposed to reach it as one. We were one, Natus." The white player responded, "How foolish." The white player walks back and disappears. And the eyes in the darkness disappeared along with them. Daniel stood alone in the frame. Then suddenly an audible noise, a banging noise of something falling to the ground is heard. Then the video ends. That was the end. I had nowhere else to search, and I'm going to tell you guys the full picture, the complete picture, or at least what I think I understand. Daniel, my friend, had built the morning. That part I'm sure of. Not joined it, not been recruited into it. He built it, designed its theology, structured its hierarchy, written its prayer, managed its 6 prophets, directed its operation from a position of complete invisibility. The username that was always present and never spoke, watching everything, speaking to no one because he didn't need to speak in the logs, in the server. The 6 prophets spoke for him. The sun circle tattoo, the only design of its kind, the source from which all the other designs derive their meaning from. He had constructed a hidden channel just to document his meetings, his buildings, his rituals, everything that he believed was a part of his transcendence. He had hidden the path to it inside a message he posted by his silent account on the server on the night before 99 people. He had always intended for someone to find it. He had intended for me specifically to find it. My head burning in the fire was no coincidence. It was him leaving my name on the door, but Natus, I'm less sure about. I told you earlier that I believed him. That's not entirely true. After our call ended, I went back and listened to the recording again just to be sure I hadn't missed anything. There's a section at the very end of our call, about a few seconds after I thought he had disconnected. I didn't notice it at first, and I'm glad I recorded it. He said something so quiet, so inaudible, that I had to crank up the gain for it, and he said, I don't know who he was talking to, I don't know who he meant, but there was always one account that was always present on the server even when no one was speaking. I checked the archive website again after that. The site was gone. Then I messaged Natus on Discord. He had blocked me. I messaged him on his email and his email has been deleted. Everything was gone. Every lead I had initially was gone. I had nothing except one thing. The server address. So I put the server address in, and there was one active user that user was DW_sunrise.